My beloved child, stop for a moment and listen to me. Do not rush past this. Do not let another notification, another conversation, or another task pull you away before these words reach the place they were meant to reach. Go to your room if you can. Close the door. Sit down. Let the noise remain outside for a little while. This is not because you are hiding from life. It is because your soul has been surrounded by too many voices, too many demands, and too many expectations. You have spent so much time answering everyone else that you have barely heard what is happening inside you. My beloved child, I want this moment to be private. There are things I can say to you in the quiet that you would struggle to receive in a crowded room. When other people are near, part of you stays alert. Part of you watches how you look, how you sound, and whether anyone can see what you are feeling. But behind a closed door, the performance can stop. You do not need to impress me. You do not need to sound strong. You do not need to prepare the right prayer. Just come as you are. Take a slow breath through your nose. Hold it gently, then let it leave through your mouth. As you breathe out, imagine placing the weight of this day outside the door, the unfinished work, the message that troubled you, the conversation you keep replaying, the fear you have not told anyone about. Set it down for now. The door is closed, but you are not trapped. You are protected from the noise long enough to hear what your heart has been trying to say. My beloved child, some of the most important moments in Scripture began when a person stepped away from the crowd. Moses was tending sheep far from the places where people knew his name when he noticed the bush burning without being consumed. Elijah was exhausted and alone when care came before instruction. Jesus often withdrew from the crowd before returning with clarity, compassion, and strength. The private place was not an escape from purpose. It was where purpose became clear. That is why I am asking you to stay here. Before we go further, place your phone face down if you are not using it to listen. Turn off what can interrupt you. Let this room become simple again. You do not need candles, perfect music, or a special atmosphere. I am not limited by what you can arrange. I meet willing hearts in ordinary places. A bedroom, a parked car, a quiet corner, or a kitchen after everyone has gone to sleep can become holy when you bring me your honest attention. The holiness is not in the furniture. It is in the surrender today. You may have thought your need for quiet was a weakness. Perhaps people called you distant, too sensitive, or too much inside your own thoughts. Perhaps you tried to become more social, more available, and more comfortable with constant noise because you believed something was wrong with you. But your need for stillness is not always a problem to solve. Sometimes it is the doorway through which I restore you. You have been carrying more than people realize. You carry responsibilities you rarely explain. You notice changes in a room before anyone speaks. You feel the tension behind polite words. You remember what others forget. You pray about things that never appear in public. This weight has made you tired, and when the outside becomes quiet, the inside may become louder. Do not be afraid of that. You may close the door and immediately remember what you were trying not to think about. An unpaid bill, a loved one who has become distant, a decision you keep postponing, a mistake that still embarrasses you, a question about your future that has no clear answer. The silence did not create those thoughts. It only gave them enough space to appear. My beloved child, that does not mean you are failing at prayer. It does not mean your faith is weak. It means your inner life has been waiting for a safe place to speak. Let it speak. You do not have to solve everything that rises. Notice it, name it, bring it to me without editing the story. Say, Father, this is what I am carrying. Say, this is what I am afraid to admit. Say, I do not know what to do with this. I am not waiting to condemn you. I am already present in the room. There is nothing in your thoughts that surprises me. There is nothing in your pain that makes me step back. I know the real version of you, not only the version that smiles, helps, works, and says everything is fine. I know the version that becomes tired. I know the version that questions. I know the version that needs to be held rather than instructed. That is the person I am speaking to now. My beloved child, close the door without guilt. The world can continue without your attention for a few minutes. You do not have to be reachable every moment. You do not have to answer every need immediately. You are allowed to be still in my presence. Let your shoulders fall. Unclench your hands. Release the tension in your face. You are safe enough to stop managing everything for this moment. The room may look ordinary. The chair may be familiar. The walls may hold no visible sign that something sacred is happening, but sacred moments do not always announce themselves with thunder. Sometimes they begin with a tired person choosing to stay still long enough to become honest. That choice matters. You turned away from the noise, you closed the door, you made room, and now I want you to understand why this invitation reached you so deeply. Something in you recognized it before your mind could explain it. The words did not feel like a random instruction. They touched a place that has been asking for privacy, truth, and rest. Stay here, my beloved child. Do not rush to the next thing. The message is only beginning. In the next part, I will show you the signs that explain why these words found you, why the private place has always felt different to you, and why the longing you carry may not be a flaw at all, but the beginning of something I have been forming within you for a long time. My beloved child, you stayed. You closed the door, allowed the room to become quiet, and gave me the attention your soul has been asking for. Now I want to show you why this invitation reached so deeply into you. This message did not feel ordinary because something in you recognized it. It reveals that your inner life has been waiting for words that could finally name what you have carried in silence. My beloved child, the first sign is this. You have often felt different, even when you could not explain how. The things that seemed to satisfy other people did not always satisfy you. You watched others build their lives around approval, possessions, attention, or routine, yet something in you continued asking whether there was more. This did not make you ungrateful. It meant your heart was searching for meaning that surface things could not provide. You told yourself to be content with what everyone else accepted. You may have wondered whether your questions were too large, whether your expectations were unrealistic, or whether you were simply difficult to please. But the longing was not the enemy. It was a signal. I placed within you a desire for truth, depth, and purpose. That desire was never meant to make you proud. It was meant to keep you from building your life around things that could not hold the full weight of your soul. The second sign is found in the moments you rarely describe to anyone. There have been times when peace arrived without a visible reason. A decision suddenly became clear. You sensed that something had changed before any evidence appeared. You thought about someone, and shortly afterward they reached out. You entered a room and felt the heaviness before anyone explained what had happened. You learned to keep these experiences private, not because you believed they were meaningless, but because you knew some people would misunderstand them. You did not always have language for what you sensed, so you held it quietly. My beloved child, I was present in those moments. Not every feeling is a message, and not every thought is direction. You must still walk with wisdom, but your sensitivity is not something to despise. When surrendered to me, it can become compassion, discernment, and prayer rather than fear. The third sign is that you feel more honest when no one is watching. In public, you know how to function. You answer questions, handle responsibilities, smile when necessary, and adjust yourself to the needs of the room. You have become skilled at giving people the version of you they can understand. But when the door closes, another version appears. The questions become clearer. The tiredness becomes harder to hide. The prayers become less polished. The real desires rise without asking permission. That private version is not false or weak. It is the part of you that has not been edited for an audience. It is the part I want to meet because healing cannot reach what is constantly being performed. The fourth sign is the weight you carry that seems larger than your personal circumstances. You are concerned about your family even when they do not know it. You notice patterns repeating across generations. You think about the people who are hurting, the choices being made, and the consequences others do not yet see. Sometimes you feel responsible for too much. You carry conversations long after they end. You imagine ways to help. You pray in secret. You feel guilty when you cannot repair what is beyond your control. My beloved child, the burden may contain both compassion and misplaced responsibility. I will teach you the difference. Some concerns are invitations to pray. Others are weights you must return to me. You were never meant to become the savior of every person you love. The fifth sign is that your quiet seasons have shaped you more than your visible successes. There were periods when little seemed to move. From the outside, people may have assumed you were stuck, confused, or falling behind. Yet those hidden seasons changed the way you see, listen, and respond. A seed beneath the soil appears inactive, but it is not empty. Its outer shell is breaking. Roots are searching downward. Life is preparing before it becomes visible. In the same way, some of your deepest growth occurred where no one could measure it. You learned endurance without applause. You learned to pray without immediate answers. You learned to keep showing up when nothing dramatic happened. Remember David before the throne. He spent long hours in fields where no crowd celebrated him. He learned courage while protecting sheep. He learned worship when only the night sky seemed to listen. The public moment came later, but the private formation came first. Your hidden years have also been teaching you. The sixth sign is your faithfulness with things no one sees. You have prayed for people who never knew your name was mentioned. You have remained kind when no one would have blamed you for becoming cold. You have kept promises that brought no recognition. You have returned to me after disappointment, even when your prayers felt weak. This faithfulness matters. The world often measures what can be displayed. I also see what is done in secret. I see the moment you choose restraint instead of revenge. I see when you tell the truth even though a lie would protect your image. I see when you sit beside someone in pain without making their suffering about you. These hidden choices are forming your character. The seventh sign is the way these words found you. You could have ignored the title. You could have continued with your day, yet something in you paused when you heard the invitation to enter a room and close the door. It touched a need you had not fully admitted. You needed permission to step away. You needed a place where your heart could stop performing. You needed to know that the hidden part of your life still has meaning. My beloved child, none of these signs mean you are more important than other people. They do not place you above anyone. They simply reveal how I have been shaping your inner life and why privacy, depth, and quiet attention matter so much to you. You are not strange because noise exhausts you. You are not broken because shallow answers do not satisfy you. You are not failing because some of your greatest growth cannot yet be seen. You are learning to recognize the design I placed within you. Stay humble. Remain teachable. Let sensitivity become compassion instead of suspicion. Let solitude become communion instead of isolation. Let responsibility become faithful action instead of control. And now, my beloved child, I want to take you deeper. Recognizing why this message found you is only the beginning. Behind the door you closed, beneath the roles you perform and the expectations you manage, there is a more honest version of you waiting to be known. In the next part, I will help you meet that person, the real you, who appears when the room becomes quiet and no audience remains. My beloved child, you have begun to recognize why this message reached you. Now I want to help you meet the person who remains when every role grows silent. Behind the closed door, you do not have to be the strong one. You do not have to be the dependable one. You do not have to be the person who always knows what to say. The room is quiet enough for the real you to breathe. My beloved child, the version of you that appears in public is not entirely false. You have learned how to adjust your voice depending on who is listening. You know when to speak, when to hold back, and when to protect other people from the full weight of what you feel. These skills helped you survive many seasons. But survival can become a costume if you never take it off. You may have worn certain roles for so long that you began confusing them with your identity. Perhaps you became the peacemaker in a tense family. Perhaps you became the achiever because praise only came when you performed well. Perhaps you became the quiet one because speaking honestly created conflict. Perhaps you became the helper because being needed felt safer than being known. My beloved child, I knew you before anyone assigned you a role. I knew you before disappointment taught you to hide parts of yourself. I knew you before rejection made you careful, before pressure made you useful, and before fear trained you to read every room. The real you is not the mask. The real you is the person beneath it. When the room becomes quiet, you may notice desires, you postponed anger, you buried grief, you minimized, and questions you considered too inconvenient to ask. Do not rush to silence them. They are not enemies. They are pieces of your inner life asking to be recognized. You may discover that you are more tired than you admitted. You may realize that a relationship has been hurting you longer than you wanted to acknowledge. You may admit that the path everyone celebrates does not feel like the path I am asking you to walk. Truth can feel disruptive at first, but false peace costs more. My beloved child, remember how Samuel heard his name in the night. At first he assumed the voice belonged to someone familiar. He ran toward what he already understood. Only later did he learn to become still and answer the voice that was calling from a deeper place. You have done something similar. When your soul spoke, you often ran toward activity, advice, approval, or another person's interpretation. You trusted familiar voices before learning to recognize the quieter truth within. Now I am teaching you to answer differently. Speak, Father. I am listening. The real you behind the closed door does not need to have everything figured out. You do not need a complete plan before you can be honest. Begin with what is true today. Say, I feel lonely even though people surround me. Say, I am angry and I do not know what to do with it. Say, I want something different but I am afraid to disappoint people. Say, I have been pretending to be fine. Honesty is not rebellion. It is the beginning of relationship. My beloved child, I do not ask you to perform strength in my presence. I am not impressed by the version of you that never needs help. I am not asking you to protect me from your confusion. Bring me the unedited truth. I can work with truth. I can heal what is named. I can guide what is admitted. But what remains hidden beneath performance continues controlling you from the shadows. This is why the closed door matters. The room removes the audience. It gives your soul permission to stop negotiating with other people's expectations. It allows you to ask a question without immediately shaping the answer for someone else's comfort. What do you actually want? What are you grieving? What are you afraid will happen if you become honest? Who are you trying not to disappoint? What part of yourself have you treated like a problem because someone else did not understand it? Sit with those questions gently. Do not turn the room into another courtroom. You have judged yourself enough. My beloved child, the goal is not to tear down every role you carry. You still have responsibilities. You may still be a parent, spouse, worker, leader, friend, or caregiver, but they should flow from who you are. They should not replace who you are. A tree can offer shade because it has roots. It does not become shade by forgetting it is a tree. In the same way, you can serve others without disappearing. You can love deeply without abandoning your needs. You can be strong without denying your pain. You can be generous without making usefulness the price of belonging. The real you can hold both courage and tenderness. My beloved child, there may be parts of yourself you do not like when they first appear. You may notice jealousy, resentment, fear, insecurity, or the desire to withdraw. Do not mistake awareness for failure. Seeing clearly is progress. A room becomes easier to clean when the light is turned on. The dust did not appear because the light arrived. The light simply revealed what was already there. Let my light be gentle. I am not exposing you to shame you. I am showing you what is ready to heal. Perhaps the resentment reveals that a boundary has been ignored. Perhaps the jealousy reveals a longing you have not brought to me. Perhaps the fear reveals an old wound still expecting the past to repeat itself. Listen beneath the reaction. There is often a deeper need, asking for care. My beloved child, I also want you to notice what is beautiful in the real you. Notice your compassion. Notice the way you keep hoping after disappointment. Notice your ability to understand pain without becoming cruel. Notice the part of you that still wants truth, even when truth requires change. You have focused so much on what needs healing that you sometimes overlook what has already become strong. I see both. I see the wounds and the wisdom. I see the fear and the courage. I see the unfinished places and the faithfulness that kept you here. Do not reduce yourself to your worst moment. Do not reduce yourself to your most useful role. You are more than both. Stay in the room a little longer now. Let the false layers loosen without forcing them. Let the honest version of you sit in my presence without rushing to improve, explain, or apologize for existing. You are allowed to be known. And as you begin meeting the real you, another truth will rise. Beneath the roles, beneath the performance, and beneath the practiced answers, there is weight you have carried for longer than you realize. In the next part, I will help you let that carried weight finally speak, not to overwhelm you, but so that what has remained hidden can begin to be released. My beloved child, now that the room is quiet and the real you has begun to come forward, the weight beneath the roles can no longer remain hidden. Let it speak. You have carried thoughts, responsibilities, disappointments, and unfinished emotions until they started to feel like part of your personality. You call yourself tired, distracted, anxious, or distant, but beneath those words there is often something more specific waiting to be named. An unresolved conversation, A promise that was broken, a fear about someone you love, a decision you keep postponing, a memory that still changes the way your body feels. My beloved child, the silence did not create these things. It simply removed the noise that helped you avoid hearing them. When the outside world becomes still, your inner world may begin speaking. You may remember what you forgot during the day. You may replay words someone said months ago. You may think about bills, family problems, health concerns, or the future before you have even taken a second breath. Do not call this failure. This is the carried weight revealing itself. Imagine walking through life with a bag that no one else can see. Each disappointment adds another stone. Each responsibility adds another. Every time you say, "I am fine," when you are not, another weight is placed inside. Eventually you stop noticing the bag. You only notice that everything feels harder. My beloved child, some of what you carry belongs to the present. Some of it belongs to the past. Some of it never belonged to you at all. You may be carrying another adult's choices as though they are your responsibility. You may be carrying the mood of your family, the peace of your workplace, or the future of a relationship that requires two people to repair. Compassion made you reach for the weight. Fear convinced you not to put it down. But love does not require you to carry what only I can hold. Let the weight speak. Ask yourself, what is the first thought that appears when everything becomes quiet? Do not judge the answer. If it is money, name the fear beneath it. If it is a person, name what remains unresolved. If it is your future, name the outcome you are trying to control. If it is regret, name what you wish you could change. My beloved child, naming the weight does not give it more power. It gives you a place to begin. Remember Hagar in the wilderness. She was frightened, alone, and unable to see a way forward. Her pain was not hidden from me. I met her where she had run out of answers, and she discovered that she had been seen even in a place no one else understood. You are also seen here. The thought you are afraid to admit is already known to me. The grief you think is too old to matter is still worthy of care. The anger you have hidden beneath politeness does not make me withdraw from you. Bring it into the light. Say, "Father, this is the weight that keeps returning." Say, "This is the conversation I cannot stop replaying." Say, "This is the fear that wakes me before morning." You do not need to make the prayer impressive. Honest words carry more life than polished words that never touch the truth. My beloved child, some weight speaks through the body before it becomes language. Your shoulders remain tense. Your jaw tightens when a name is mentioned. Your stomach turns before a difficult conversation. Your chest feels heavy when nothing is visibly wrong. Do not ignore these signals. Your body may be remembering what your mind has been trying to manage. Pause. Breathe slowly. Ask, what am I protecting myself from right now? The answer may not come immediately, and that is all right. You are not forcing a confession. You are creating safety for truth to rise. My beloved child, there are also burdens created by unfinished grief. You moved forward because life required it. People expected you to function. Responsibilities did not pause, so you learned to keep moving while part of you remained beside what was lost. A relationship ended. A loved one changed. A dream closed. A season you expected never arrived. You may have told yourself that enough time has passed and you should no longer feel anything. But grief does not obey a public schedule. Let it speak without shame. Tears are not proof that you have gone backward. They may be proof that your heart finally feels safe enough to stop holding everything together. My beloved child, you do not have to explain every wound tonight. You do not have to empty the entire bag in one moment. Take out one stone, hold it before me, name it. Notice what it has cost you, then ask whether it is yours to continue carrying. Some burdens require action. You may need to make a call, tell the truth, apologize, seek wise help, or set a boundary. Other burdens require surrender, because no action can control the outcome. Wisdom is learning the difference. Do not use prayer to avoid a step that belongs to you, and do not use effort to control what belongs in my hands. My beloved child, the carried weight may include words spoken over you. Lazy, difficult, too emotional, not enough, a disappointment. You may have repeated these labels until they sounded like your own voice, but repetition does not make a lie true. Listen beneath those names. Who were you before fear named you? Who were you before rejection interpreted you? Who were you before another person's pain became a sentence over your life? I am still calling you by the name I gave you, beloved, known, capable of growth, worthy of truth. My beloved child, let the room remain now. Do not rush to fill it. Notice what has surfaced. Perhaps the weight is not one dramatic event, but 1,000 small responsibilities you never allowed yourself to feel. Perhaps it is years of being the strong one. Perhaps it is the exhaustion of helping people who rarely ask how you are. Whatever has risen, do not push it back down. You are not weak because the burden feels heavy. You are honest, and honesty opens the door to relief. Place your hands open before you if that helps. Imagine the weight resting there. You do not need to throw it away carelessly. Simply stop gripping it as though your life depends on never letting go. Say, Father, show me what to carry. Show me what to release. Show me what needs healing, what needs action, and what needs trust. I will guide you one burden at a time. My beloved child, as the weight begins to speak, you may also remember how long you have carried it without anyone noticing. You may wonder whether your quiet endurance, your unseen prayers, and your ordinary faithfulness have mattered. They have. In the next part, I will show you that every hidden act of faithfulness has been seen even in the seasons when you received no recognition and felt no dramatic answer. My beloved child, now that the weight has begun to speak, another question is rising beneath it. Did any of your quiet endurance matter? You carried burdens no one noticed. You prayed when no one asked you to pray. You kept showing up when your heart felt tired. You remained gentle in rooms that rewarded hardness. You chose restraint when anger would have been easier. And because there was no applause, you sometimes wondered whether any of it was seen. It was. I saw every hidden act of faithfulness. I saw the mornings when you got out of bed with a heavy heart and still did what love required. I saw the evenings when you sat alone after helping everyone else and had no strength left to explain your own pain. I saw when you chose not to send the message written from frustration. I saw when you returned to prayer after disappointment made you want to stop. My beloved child, faithfulness is not always dramatic. Sometimes it looks like washing dishes while your mind carries grief. Sometimes it looks like answering with patience when you feel misunderstood. Sometimes it looks like keeping a promise, caring for a child, checking on a parent, or taking one honest step when the future remains unclear. The world often celebrates what can be displayed. I also see what is repeated in secret. You may believe hidden seasons are empty because they do not produce visible milestones. But much of what keeps a life standing is built where no one is watching. A foundation is buried beneath the house. No guest praises it, yet every room depends on the strength formed below the surface. Your hidden faithfulness has been building that strength. My beloved child, you have not always felt faithful. There were days when prayer felt mechanical. There were seasons when you spoke to me with little emotion and wondered whether your words reached beyond the ceiling. You kept coming back anyway. That matters. Faithfulness is not the absence of doubt, weariness, or questions. It is the decision to remain honest and present when certainty is incomplete. You may have imagined that I only valued your strongest moments. You thought the prayer spoken with confidence mattered more than the prayer whispered through confusion. But I heard both. I heard the bold declaration. I also heard the tired sentence that simply said, Father, help me. My beloved child, remember the widow who placed a small offering where others gave from abundance. People could have overlooked her gift because it appeared insignificant. Yet I saw the cost hidden inside it. I still see that way. I do not measure only the size of what you give. I see what it requires from you. The call you made while afraid. The boundary you kept after years of surrendering yourself. The apology you offered even though pride resisted. The hour you spent listening to someone who felt alone. These things may never become public stories, but they are not lost. You may have been faithful in a family that did not understand your growth. You stopped repeating harmful words. You learned to lower your voice. You chose not to use silence as punishment. You began telling the truth without cruelty. No one may have celebrated those changes. I did. You may have been faithful in a season of waiting. You watched others move forward while your own life seemed unchanged. You congratulated people while carrying private disappointment. You continued planting without knowing when anything would grow. I saw every seed. My beloved child, do not confuse delayed fruit with wasted obedience. Some seeds break open long before anything appears above the ground. The hidden cracking is not destruction. It is the beginning of life taking another form. Your unseen obedience has also been changing you. It has deepened your patience. It has exposed motives that needed healing. It has taught you how to continue without constant validation. It has made your faith less dependent on mood and more rooted in relationship. That kind of growth cannot be rushed. You once expected private time with me to produce immediate clarity. You thought that if you closed the door, prayed sincerely, and stayed long enough, something dramatic would happen. A sign, a voice, a sudden answer. When nothing obvious came, you wondered whether you had failed. My beloved child, the quiet meeting was not empty. Sometimes my work in you is so gentle that you recognize it only later. You leave the room without a dramatic feeling, yet respond more calmly the next day. You still face the same problem, yet it no longer owns your thoughts. You do not receive the full answer, but gain enough peace to take the next step. That is also an encounter. Do not despise what arrives quietly. Dawn does not enter the sky with an announcement. Light increases little by little until what was hidden becomes visible. My work often comes like that. You may not notice the exact moment fear begins losing its grip. You may not know when resentment starts becoming grief, or when grief makes room for wisdom. But each honest return to the hidden place allows something to shift. My beloved child, you have also remained faithful when people misunderstood you. You were tempted to abandon the process so they would stop questioning you. I saw that restraint. I saw when you chose not to explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. I saw when you stayed respectful without surrendering truth. I saw when you walked away from arguments that would only drain you. Hidden faithfulness sometimes looks like not reacting. Sometimes it looks like waiting until your heart is clear. Sometimes it looks like doing the right thing without being seen as right. My beloved child, let this truth settle inside you now. You have not been forgotten in the hidden place. The quiet years are not missing from your story. The prayers without immediate answers are not stored in an empty room. The ordinary acts of love, discipline, restraint, and courage have been seen. I do not watch you with cold observation. I see you with understanding. I know what each faithful choice has cost. I know the pressure you resisted. I know the tears behind the calm face. I know how many times you began again. And I am not ashamed of your unfinished progress. You are still being formed. Stay near me, without demanding that every private moment become dramatic. Let ordinary faithfulness remain holy. Let quiet obedience become enough for today. The encounter you have waited for may not arrive in the form you expected. It may begin while you are doing something simple after a long season that seemed uneventful. That is how many turning points begin. A person is walking an ordinary path, then something catches their attention. They stop, they turn aside, they draw near. My beloved child, in the next part I will show you why the wilderness was not wasted, why Moses was prepared through hidden years, and why your next step may begin by turning aside to notice what has been burning near you all along. My beloved child, the path before Moses looked ordinary when everything began. There was no crowd waiting. There was no announcement. There was only the desert, the flock, the heat, and another day that seemed much like the one before it. Yet in that ordinary place something was burning. Moses could have kept walking. He could have told himself that he was too busy, too tired, or too familiar with disappointment to investigate anything unusual. He could have stayed on the path he already understood. Instead, he turned aside. That small decision opened a new chapter. My beloved child, many important moments begin this way. They do not begin with complete understanding. They begin when you notice something that keeps returning to your attention and choose not to ignore it. A question, a quiet conviction, a repeated invitation, a truth that will not leave you alone. Turning aside means giving honest attention to what you would normally walk past. It means pausing long enough to ask why something is stirring inside you. It means allowing me to interrupt the direction you assumed you had to follow. You have spent years moving through responsibilities. You learned to keep going even when your heart was tired. But some things cannot be received while you are rushing. The burning bush did not chase Moses across the desert. He had to stop. He had to look again. He had to move closer. My beloved child, what has been asking for your attention? Perhaps it is a gift you stopped using because rejection made you doubt it. Perhaps it is a boundary you know must be set. Perhaps it is a truth about your life that becomes clearer every time the noise fades. Do not assume every strong feeling is a command. Test what you sense with wisdom, patience, prayer, and truth. But do not dismiss everything simply because it disrupts your routine. Some interruptions are invitations. They ask you to become available, not impressive. They ask for attention before action, honesty before certainty, and willingness before confidence. The first movement is often quieter than the life it eventually changes forever. He had once lived near power and human importance. Then his life became hidden, repetitive, and ordinary. He spent years caring for animals that did not belong to him, far from the future he had imagined. From the outside, it looked like decline. From my perspective, it was preparation. The desert taught him patience. It taught him to read difficult terrain. It taught him how to guide living creatures that wandered and became afraid. It taught him how to survive without applause. The skills formed in private later became necessary in public. My beloved child, your hidden years may also contain training you have not recognized. The job you considered unimportant may have taught you discipline, communication, or humility. The closed door may be strengthening an inner life that future responsibility will require. Do not call a season meaningless because its purpose has not yet been revealed. Roots deepen before branches carry fruit. Preparation often feels slower than purpose because preparation is where weaknesses are exposed and strength becomes dependable. My beloved child, turning aside also requires releasing the belief that your past has disqualified you. Moses had reasons to hesitate. He carried memories of failure. He had left behind the life he once knew. He did not see himself as the obvious choice for what came next. When I called him, his first response was not confidence. It was a question about his ability. You may be asking the same question. Who am I to do this? Who am I to speak? Who am I to begin again after what happened? Who am I to believe that my hidden life still carries purpose? My beloved child, the answer is not that you are sufficient by yourself. The answer is that I will be with you. Your weakness does not surprise me. Your history does not erase my ability to guide you. Your questions do not cancel the invitation. I am not asking you to manufacture confidence before you come closer. I am asking you to bring your honest hesitation into my presence. Moses approached with uncertainty. The encounter did not begin because he felt ready. It began because he became attentive. My beloved child, there is a difference between curiosity and surrender. Curiosity asks what the burning bush might offer. Surrender asks what truth requires after you have drawn near. When Moses approached, the moment became personal. He heard his name. He learned that the ground beneath an ordinary day had become holy because my presence was there. The desert did not change location. His awareness changed. You may be waiting for a different environment before you take your inner life seriously. You imagine that you need more time, a better room, or a more peaceful season. But I can meet you in the life you already have. The kitchen before sunrise, the car before work, the bedroom after a difficult day, the quiet walk no one notices. Ordinary ground becomes sacred when you become present with me. My beloved child, approach slowly. You do not need to force a revelation. You do not need to turn every thought into a prophecy or every coincidence into a sign. Simply become honest. Ask what I may be showing you through the pattern that keeps returning. Ask what part of your life needs attention rather than avoidance. Ask what old identity must be removed before you can receive a new responsibility. Moses was asked to remove his sandals. It was an outward act expressing inward reverence. For you, removing the sandals may mean laying down defensiveness. It may mean admitting that control has become your protection. It may mean releasing the need to appear certain. It may mean entering the moment without the achievements and explanations you use to prove your worth. Come closer without performance. My beloved child, a burning bush moment does not always reveal your entire future. Often it gives you one clear step. Make the call, tell the truth, begin the practice, return to prayer, seek wise counsel. Stop returning to the place that keeps wounding you. Use the gift you buried. One step of obedience is enough to begin. You may still have questions after the encounter. Moses did. Clarity about the next step does not require clarity about the entire road. My presence will travel further than your understanding. Remember this when you leave the room. You are not being asked to create your own burning bush. You are being asked to notice, turn aside, draw near, and listen. The hidden years were not empty. The ordinary path was not forgotten. The interruption was not meaningless. Something has been preparing you. And yet, my beloved child, before every assignment comes, another truth you must receive. A person who has carried too much cannot continue only through determination. Moses needed calling, but Elijah needed care before he could hear clearly again. In the next part, I will meet the exhausted place within you and show you why provision, rest, and gentle care may need to come before the journey continues. My beloved child, Moses needed courage to approach the burning bush, but Elijah reached a different kind of moment. He had already stood before a crowd. He had already faced conflict. He had already seen a powerful answer. Then the pressure caught up with him. He ran into the wilderness, sat beneath a tree, and admitted that he had nothing left. My beloved child, I want you to notice what happened next. I did not begin with a lecture. I did not shame him for being tired. I did not tell him that strong people should recover faster. I gave him rest. I sent food. I gave him water. I allowed his body to receive care before asking his spirit to carry another instruction. This matters because you have often tried to solve exhaustion with more effort. You feel depleted, so you push harder. You feel confused, so you consume more advice. You feel afraid, so you make more plans. You feel weak, so you hide the weakness and continue performing. But some seasons do not require another strategy first. They require provision. My beloved child, you are not failing because you need to stop. You are not less faithful because your body is asking for sleep. You are not disappointing me because your mind cannot process one more demand tonight. There are moments when the next holy step is a meal, a glass of water, a quiet room, a walk, or an honest conversation with someone safe. Care is not separate from spiritual life. Your body is not an inconvenience attached to your calling. It is part of the life I gave you. Elijah had lived through intense pressure. He had given everything he could give. Then fear, loneliness, and fatigue narrowed his vision until he could no longer see the future clearly. Exhaustion often does that. It makes temporary pain feel permanent. It turns one difficult conversation into proof that every relationship is broken. It turns one delayed answer into evidence that nothing will ever change. It makes you question decisions that seemed clear when you were rested. My beloved child, before you condemn your entire life, ask whether you are tired. Before you send the message, end the relationship, quit the work, or decide that you have failed, pause. Eat something nourishing. Sleep if you can. Step outside. Let your breathing slow. Give your body enough safety for your thoughts to become honest again. Rest will not answer every question, but exhaustion can distort every answer. My beloved child, I also want you to receive care without apologizing for it. You are accustomed to being useful. You know how to give, organize, solve, listen, and carry. When someone offers help, part of you may become uncomfortable. You begin explaining why you should be able to manage alone. You say others have bigger problems. You say, it is not that serious. You say you will rest later, but later keeps moving. Let someone bring the meal. Let someone drive. Let someone listen without turning the conversation back toward their needs. Let someone pray for you. Receiving does not make you a burden. It allows love to move in both directions. My beloved child, the provision I send may not always look dramatic. It may arrive through a friend who checks on you at the right hour. It may come through an unexpected day without demands. It may be a doctor who finally listens carefully. It may be the courage to decline one more obligation. It may be a simple sentence that helps you understand what you could not name. Do not overlook ordinary provision while waiting for something spectacular. The bread beside Elijah was simple, yet it carried enough strength for the journey ahead. What looks small may be exactly measured for your need. My beloved child, there is a difference between comfort that restores you and escape that keeps you numb. Rest brings you back to yourself. Escape takes you further away. Rest may include sleep, quiet, laughter, prayer, good food, movement, or time with someone who does not require performance. Escape often leaves you more scattered than before. Endless scrolling, constant noise, impulsive spending, or staying busy every moment may delay discomfort, but they do not restore what has been drained. Ask yourself afterward, do I feel more present or more absent? Choose what returns you to life. My beloved child, Elijah slept more than once before he continued. The care was not rushed. I did not become impatient. because one period of rest was not enough. Some of you have been tired for years, not days. One quiet evening may help, but deeper restoration can require a new rhythm. You may need to change how often you say yes. You may need to stop treating every request as an emergency. You may need regular support, healthier boundaries, or professional care. You may need to grieve what constant responsibility has cost you. Do not expect your soul to recover instantly from a weight it carried for a long time. Be patient with the healing. You are not behind because recovery takes time. A field left fallow is not useless. It is regaining what the previous season removed. In the same way, quiet days can rebuild attention, tenderness, and strength that constant demands slowly drain from you without your noticing it. My beloved child, after Elijah was strengthened, he traveled to a quiet place. There he learned that my presence was not limited to the loudest display. The wind was strong, the ground shook, the fire passed. Yet the word he needed came in a gentle sound. You may have trained yourself to expect guidance through urgency, intensity, or dramatic emotion. But I often speak through settled clarity, a quiet conviction, a steady peace, a truth that remains after the excitement fades. You will hear more clearly when you are no longer forcing yourself to survive every moment. This is why provision comes before direction. A frightened, exhausted mind can mistake pressure for purpose. A restored heart can recognize the difference. My beloved child, receive what is available today. Do not demand tomorrow's strength before tomorrow arrives. There is grace for the next meal, the next breath, the next honest decision, and the next necessary boundary. You do not need to carry the whole journey at once. Take what I place before you. Let it be enough for this moment. Rest without guilt. Receive without shame. Listen without forcing. When strength begins to return, do not immediately spend all of it proving that you are well. Protect what is being restored. Move slowly. Let your new rhythm become dependable. My beloved child, the quiet place where I care for you may look like withdrawal to people who only value visible progress. They may wonder why you have stepped back. They may misunderstand the slower pace. But hidden does not mean forgotten. The sheltering season can be part of the provision. In the next part, I will show you why the season that feels concealed may actually be a place of protection, where fragile strength becomes rooted before it is exposed to the demands of the open world. My beloved child, in the last part I asked you to receive rest before the journey continued. Now I want you to understand the quiet place where that rest is happening. This hidden season is not empty. It is not proof that I have forgotten you. It may be the place where I am protecting what is still becoming strong. You have looked at your life and wondered why so little seems visible. You see other people moving, building, and celebrating. Meanwhile, your own path may feel covered, delayed, or difficult to explain. My beloved child, hidden does not mean abandoned. A seed disappears beneath the soil before anyone sees a stem. The darkness around it is not a grave. It is the condition that allows roots to form without being exposed too soon. The same can be true for you. Some growth cannot survive constant attention. Some healing needs privacy. Some clarity requires distance from voices that would shape it before it becomes steady. You may want proof of progress. You may want people to recognize what is changing within you, but early exposure can create pressure before your inner foundation is ready to carry it. I am not withholding visibility to punish you. I may be giving your roots time. My beloved child, think of Joseph before the palace. There were years when his gifts seemed buried beneath betrayal, labor, and confinement. From the outside, his life looked smaller than the promise he carried. Yet those hidden years were not outside my care. He learned patience where he had once been impulsive. He learned responsibility in places he never chose. He learned how to understand people, manage resources, and remain faithful when recognition was absent. The public assignment required strength that the early dream alone could not provide. Your hidden season may also be teaching you what the visible season will later require. You may be learning how to handle disappointment without becoming bitter. You may be learning how to lead without needing control. You may be learning how to speak with wisdom instead of reacting from pain. You may be learning how to receive correction without collapsing into shame. These lessons are not delays. They are preparation. My beloved child, there is a word in Scripture connected with hiding and covering. It carries the sense of being concealed in a place of protection. Do not turn the word into superstition. Receive the truth beneath it. There are seasons when I cover a life because growth needs shelter. A young tree may need support before it can stand against strong wind. A healing wound may need to remain covered before it can face friction. A new conviction may need quiet before it can survive public disagreement. Protection can look like limitation. A closed door can feel like rejection. A slower season can feel like failure. But what feels like restriction may be mercy. My beloved child, some opportunities did not open because you were not yet ready for what they demanded. Some relationships ended because they could not respect who you were becoming. Some environments became uncomfortable because the habits keeping you accepted there were no longer healthy. You called it loss. I was also creating space. This does not mean every disappointment was sent by me. People make choices. Life contains pain. Doors sometimes close for reasons you may never fully understand. But I can use even what I did not desire to protect, redirect, and deepen you. Nothing placed in my hands remains meaningless. My beloved child, hidden seasons can be lonely because people often celebrate visible movement. They know how to congratulate a promotion, a marriage, a new home, or a public success. They may not know how to honor recovery. They may not see the courage required to rebuild trust, leave an unhealthy pattern, or learn how to rest after years of survival. They may ask when you will be productive again. They may assume your quieter life means you have lost ambition. Do not let their confusion become your identity. You are not inactive because your deepest work is invisible. You are not behind because your timeline became different. You are not wasting your life because you are learning how to live without constant approval. My beloved child, protection also requires boundaries. You cannot call the hidden place sacred while giving every person unlimited access to it. Not everyone needs to hear the dream before it is mature. Not everyone is safe enough to receive the details of your healing. Jesus sometimes told people not to spread what had happened immediately. He also withdrew when crowds tried to define his timing. There is wisdom in knowing when to speak and when to remain quiet. You do not owe everyone an explanation for the season I am walking you through. Share with people who are humble and trustworthy, capable of handling what is tender without turning it into gossip, pressure, or unwanted advice. Protecting what is growing is not deception, it is stewardship. My beloved child, do not use the hidden season as an excuse to avoid every risk. Protection is not permanent isolation. A greenhouse prepares a plant for the open air. It does not become the plant's final home. There will be a time to step forward. There will be conversations to have, work to begin, gifts to use, and relationships to build. But movement should come from rooted clarity, not panic about being unseen. Ask me whether you are resting or hiding from obedience. Ask whether the closed door is protecting healing or protecting fear. I will show you the difference. Fear says, never leave this room. Wisdom says, stay until you can leave without abandoning yourself. My beloved child, the hidden place is where motives become clearer. Without applause, you learn whether you still want the work. Without recognition, you discover whether the calling is connected to service or image. This purification can feel uncomfortable. You may notice how much effort was tied to being noticed. You may grieve how often approval became the proof that you mattered. Do not condemn yourself. Let me heal that hunger. I want you to serve from love, not from the need to be seen. I want you to speak because truth is ready, not because silence makes you anxious. I want you to emerge with peace, not desperation. Look again at this quiet season. The room is not empty. The silence is not vacant. The pace is not meaningless. I am strengthening what cannot be rushed. I am teaching you to recognize my presence without public confirmation. I am making your inner life less dependent on the reactions of people. Stay faithful here. Tend what is small. Receive the protection without calling it punishment. And as you remain in this hidden place, another question may rise. You may wonder whether the prayers spoken here without witnesses, and sometimes without words, have reached me. In the next part, I will show you why your private prayer has already been heard, even when other people misunderstood your silence, and even when the answer has not yet become visible. My beloved child, in the hidden place, you began to wonder whether your private prayers had reached me. They have. Every word spoken behind a closed door has been heard. Every prayer that broke apart inside you before it became a sentence has still come before me. You may have believed prayer only mattered when it sounded strong and full of faith. but I do not measure prayer by performance. I receive truth. My beloved child, remember Hannah. She entered the temple carrying grief that had lasted longer than expected. Her longing had become so deep that ordinary words could not hold it. Her lips moved, but almost no sound came out. A man nearby saw her from the outside and misunderstood everything. He thought disorder was taking place when deep prayer was happening. He judged what he could see because he could not enter what she carried. You have also been misunderstood. People saw you become quiet and assumed you were distant. They saw you step back and assumed you had lost direction. They saw tears and called you too emotional. My beloved child, their interpretation did not determine the truth. Hannah did not need the priest to understand her correctly before I received her prayer. Neither do you. The people around you do not have to recognize the depth of your private life before it matters to me. I hear your heart. My beloved child, some of your prayers have been complete sentences. Others have been a name repeated through tears. Others have been one tired word. Help, stay, guide me, do not leave me here. I heard all of them. Silence can become prayer when your heart turns toward me and has no strength left to speak. I know the difference between emptiness and surrender. I understand when all you can offer is your presence. You do not need to fill every quiet moment with words. Sit with me. Let your breathing slow. Let your grief be known without forcing it into a polished explanation. My beloved child, you may wonder why the answer has not become visible if the prayer has already been heard. Hearing is not the same as immediately giving the outcome you expected. A loving answer may involve timing you cannot understand. It may require another person's freedom. It may involve protection from something you cannot see. It may begin inside you before anything changes around you. This does not mean every delay is easy or every question will receive a full explanation. I will not insult your pain with simple phrases. Waiting can hurt. Watching others receive what you asked for can make you feel forgotten. Returning to the same prayer year after year can exhaust hope. Bring that disappointment to me too. Do not pray around it. Say, Father, I know, you hear me, but I am tired of waiting. Say, I am afraid the answer will never come. Say, I do not understand why this continues. Honesty does not threaten me. It deepens relationship. My beloved child, there are prayers I answer by changing the situation. There are prayers I answer by changing your ability to stand within it. There are prayers I answer by closing the door you asked me to open. There are prayers I answer by bringing wisdom, courage, or boundaries instead of the result you imagined. Do not assume a different answer means no answer. Look for what has shifted. Perhaps you still face uncertainty, but fear no longer controls every decision. Perhaps the relationship did not return, but your dignity did. Perhaps the opportunity never came, but another path began opening. Perhaps the person did not change, but you stopped accepting what was harming you. These changes matter. My beloved child, prayer is not a method for controlling outcomes. It is relationship. It is where you bring desire without pretending to rule time. It is where you ask boldly while remaining open to wisdom beyond your view. It is where you discover that my presence is not only found after the answer arrives. I am with you during the asking. I am with you during the silence. I am with you when hope feels strong and when it barely remains. My beloved child, protect your private prayers from pressure to announce them too early. Not every longing needs a public audience. Not every sacred conversation belongs in a group. Some people offer advice before listening. Some place their fear onto your hope. Some treat what is tender like a topic for discussion. Choose carefully who receives access to what you carry. Privacy is not secrecy rooted in shame. It can be wisdom rooted in stewardship. Hannah spoke when necessary, but her deepest communion remained between her heart and me. You are allowed to keep certain prayers close. My beloved child, do not use privacy to isolate yourself from support. There are times when a trusted friend, pastor, counselor, or mature believer can help you carry what feels too heavy. Wisdom knows the difference between sacred privacy and lonely hiding. Ask whether silence is protecting the prayer or protecting fear. If shame is keeping you alone, bring one safe person into the room. You do not have to expose everything. You only need enough honesty to stop suffering without support. My beloved child, release the belief that repeated prayer annoys me. You have asked for the same healing direction, restoration, and breakthrough many times. You worry that I am tired of hearing it. I am not. Repetition can become empty when words are spoken without the heart, but returning honestly is not a burden to me. It reveals where your longing remains alive. Keep bringing it, but allow the prayer to grow. At first you may pray, only change this. Later you may pray, show me what this is forming in me. Then perhaps guide my next faithful step before the full answer comes. The prayer becomes deeper without pretending the desire disappeared. My beloved child, notice what private prayer has already produced. You have become more honest. You have learned to wait without losing tenderness. You have discovered which voices increase fear and which bring wisdom. You have learned that tears do not cancel faith. You have begun separating what belongs to your responsibility from what belongs in my hands. These are not small answers. They are part of the formation. Your prayer has been shaping the person who will eventually receive, carry, or respond to what comes next. Stay here for a moment. Place one prayer before me now. Do not explain it perfectly. Name the person, need, wound, or hope. Then say, Father, you have heard me. Let that sentence settle. You are not speaking into an empty room. My beloved child, your private prayer has already been received. Even where the answer remains hidden, your voice has not disappeared. And now I want to help you understand the larger pattern taking place in this room. In the next part, I will show you 3 movements of private formation: the long season that prepares you, the provision that meets you there, and the misunderstanding that cannot cancel what I am doing within you. My beloved child, you have placed your private prayer before me and heard the truth that it was received. Now I want to help you understand the pattern surrounding this hidden season. There are 3 movements taking place. The first is the extended private season. The second is provision within the private place. The third is the way your private formation can be misunderstood by people who only see the outside. When you recognize these movements, you will stop calling the process random. My beloved child, the extended private season often lasts longer than you expected. You thought the quiet chapter would be brief. You imagined a few weeks of waiting, a short period of healing, or one difficult season before everything became clear. But the months continued. The questions remained. The visible progress came slowly. You began wondering whether you had missed your moment. Remember Moses in the wilderness. He did not know how long the desert would last. He had no calendar showing when the burning bush would appear. He simply lived the ordinary responsibility in front of him. Day after day, he tended the flock. Year after year, he learned the land. Nothing in the routine looked like preparation for leading a nation. Yet the long season was shaping endurance, patience, humility, and awareness. My beloved child, your extended season may be doing the same. It may be teaching you how to remain steady without constant encouragement. It may be separating your calling from your need for recognition. It may be revealing which desires are rooted in love and which are rooted in proving yourself. Long preparation is not proof that nothing is happening. Some structures require deeper foundations because they will carry greater weight. Do not compare the length of your formation with another person's timeline. Their assignment is not yours. Their pace cannot measure your obedience. Ask only whether you are remaining honest, teachable, and faithful with what is before you today. My beloved child, the second movement is provision in the private place. The hidden season does not only remove things, it also gives. Elijah discovered this beneath the tree. He entered the wilderness empty, frightened, and exhausted. The provision that met him was simple, but it was specific. Food, water, sleep, a gentle touch. The care matched the condition. My beloved child, I still provide this way. I may send one person who listens without trying to repair you. I may create a pause in a schedule that had become unbearable. I may give you the courage to ask for help. I may use a book, a conversation, a counselor, a doctor, or a quiet morning to restore something that constant pressure depleted. Do not reject provision because it looks ordinary. You may be waiting for a dramatic sign while ignoring the meal, the open door, the wise voice, or the chance to rest. Provision often arrives in a form simple enough to receive. My beloved child, it is also measured for the journey ahead. Elijah was not only fed because he was tired, he was strengthened because the road before him required more than he currently had. What I provide now may be preparing you for a responsibility you cannot yet see. The boundary you are learning to keep may protect future relationships. The rest you are receiving may preserve the clarity your next decision will require. The humility you are learning may keep future influence from becoming pride. Receive what is being offered without demanding to know every reason. Bread for today is still an answer. My beloved child, the third movement is being misunderstood from the outside. Private formation is difficult for observers to interpret. They see fewer visible results and assume you have lost direction. They see you become quieter and assume you are withdrawing from life. They see you say no more often and assume you have become selfish. They see you move slowly and assume fear is controlling you. Sometimes they will be partly right. You must remain willing to examine yourself honestly. But people can also misread healing because they only recognize movement that is public. Remember Hannah. Her lips moved without sound, and the person watching her misunderstood the moment. He saw the outer expression, but not the grief, surrender, and prayer beneath it. My beloved child, not everyone will understand what I am doing within you. Some people knew how to relate to the version of you that overgave, over-explained, and remained constantly available. When that version begins changing, they may call your growth distance. Do not become defensive. Do not use spiritual language to avoid accountability. Listen carefully where correction is wise, but do not hand another person authority over a process they have not taken time to understand. Their confusion cannot cancel your formation. Their impatience cannot rewrite your timing. Their opinion cannot determine whether the work inside you is real. My beloved child, these three movements often happen together. The season becomes longer than expected. Provision arrives in quiet forms. People misunderstand the pace. That combination can make you doubt yourself. You begin asking whether you are truly being prepared or simply hiding. This is an important question. The private place should produce greater honesty, compassion, courage, and readiness to obey. If solitude makes you more bitter, more fearful, or less willing to love, then something needs attention. Healthy formation does not make you superior. It makes you more grounded. It does not teach you to despise the crowd. It teaches you how to enter the crowd without losing yourself. My beloved child, Jesus, often chose to be alone before returning to people. The private place was not the opposite of service. It was the source of it. He withdrew to pray, then returned with clarity. He stepped away from demands, then came back with compassion. The closed door prepared him for the open road. Let this become your pattern. Enter the quiet not to avoid your life, but to become more present within it. Receive rest so you can serve without resentment. Receive truth so you can speak without performance. Receive correction so you can walk without pride. My beloved child, the extended season is forming endurance. The provision is restoring strength. The misunderstanding is teaching you to remain rooted without becoming hard. Together, they are building an inner life that does not depend on constant visibility. Take a breath now. Look at your own season. Where has the waiting become long? What provision have you overlooked? Whose misunderstanding have you allowed to define you? Bring each answer to me. You do not need to solve them tonight. Simply recognize the movement. Recognition returns choice to you again today. What remains unnamed often feels powerful, but once you see the pattern clearly, you can respond with wisdom instead of reacting from exhaustion, shame, or pressure. And now that you understand the pattern, I want to give you a practice for meeting me within it. In the next part, I will teach you sacred stillness, not the forced silence of an empty mind, but the honest quiet where you notice what is present and bring the real interior into my care. My beloved child, now that you understand the three movements of private formation, I want to show you how to meet me within them. The long season, the quiet provision, and the misunderstanding of others can all become easier to carry when you learn sacred stillness. Sacred stillness is not forcing your mind to become empty. It is not pretending that every thought has disappeared. It is not sitting perfectly while your heart struggles underneath. Sacred stillness begins with honesty. You close the door. You take a slow breath. You notice what is already present. My beloved child, many people enter the quiet and immediately begin fighting themselves. A thought appears and they push it away. Fear rises and they call it a failure. Grief comes close and they distract themselves before it can speak. Then they leave, believing the silence did not work, but the silence was working. It revealed what the noise had been covering. You do not need to defeat every thought before you can meet me. You do not need to clean your inner life before meeting me. I am already there. Begin with 1 minute of simple attention. Sit comfortably. Let your hands rest. Allow your breathing to slow without forcing it. Then ask what is here right now. Do not ask what should be here. Do not ask what a faithful person would feel. Ask what is actually present. Perhaps the first answer is tension. Perhaps it is anger. Perhaps it is relief. Perhaps it is nothing you can name. Stay with what is true. My beloved child, when Elijah stood at the mountain, the loud signs passed before him. Wind moved through the rocks. The ground shook. Fire appeared. Yet the word he needed came in a quieter way. You may also be waiting for intensity. You expect clarity to arrive through a powerful emotion, a dramatic sign, or a sudden certainty. Sometimes it does, but often my guidance comes as a truth that remains steady after the noise settles, a gentle conviction, a clear boundary, a quiet sense that you need to wait, a calm awareness that one step is right. Sacred stillness helps you notice what urgency usually hides. My beloved child, urgency is not always guidance. Fear can speak quickly. Pride can demand immediate proof. Old wounds can make every delay feel dangerous. Stillness creates enough space to ask whether the pressure is coming from wisdom or from panic. You may hear the thought, "Solve this now." Do not obey it immediately. Notice it. Ask what it fears will happen if you wait. You may discover that the thought is protecting you from rejection, uncertainty, or loss of control. Once you understand the fear beneath the pressure, you can respond with compassion instead of letting it lead. Sacred stillness is not passive. It is attentive. It does not remove responsibility. It helps you see responsibility clearly. My beloved child, some of you are afraid to become still because stillness has not felt safe in the past. When the house became quiet, conflict followed. When people stopped speaking, punishment was coming. When you were left alone, no one came to comfort you. Your body learned that silence meant danger. So when the room becomes quiet now, your mind begins searching for a threat. Be patient with yourself. You are not spiritually weak. You are learning that this silence is different. The door is closed, but you are not abandoned. The room is quiet, but you are not being punished. You are here with me. Place one hand over your heart if that helps. Feel the movement of your breath. Look around the room and name what you see. Remind yourself that you are in the present, not in the old place where silence once frightened you. My beloved child, I do not rush healing. Let stillness become safe, little by little. You may begin with a few breaths. Later, you may remain longer. The goal is honest presence. Do not turn sacred stillness into another standard you use to judge yourself. Some days your mind will settle quickly. Other days it will remain active. Both days can become prayer. On a noisy day, say, "Father, my thoughts are moving fast." On a heavy day, say, "Father, sadness is here." On a peaceful day, say, "Thank you for this rest." The practice is not successful because you felt calm. It is successful because you became honest and stayed present. My beloved child, notice the difference between observing a thought and becoming the thought. You may notice fear without saying, "I am only afraid." You may notice shame without saying, "I am shameful." You may notice anger without allowing anger to decide your next action. A cloud can pass across the sky without becoming the sky. In the same way, a thought can move through your awareness without defining your identity. Say fear is present. Say grief is present. Say confusion is present. Then remember, I am also present. My presence is not canceled by what you feel. Sacred stillness also teaches you to listen beneath the first layer. The first thought may say, "I am angry." The deeper truth may be, "I feel ignored." The first thought may say, "I need to leave." The deeper truth may be, "I am afraid of being rejected first." The first thought may say, "No one cares." The deeper truth may be, "I do not know how to ask for care." Do not shame the first layer. Let it guide you toward what needs attention. My beloved child, use questions. What am I feeling? Where do I feel it in my body? What story am I telling myself? What am I afraid this means? What do I need to bring to you? One honest answer is enough. Then sit with me without trying to control what happens next. There may be no dramatic revelation. You may simply feel your shoulders soften. You may remember a truth you already knew. You may realize that one decision can wait until morning. You may sense that an apology is needed. You may understand that a boundary must remain. Small clarity is still clarity. My beloved child, sacred stillness becomes powerful through regular practice. A river shapes stone through steady movement, not sudden force. In the same way, a few honest minutes repeated can reshape the way you respond to fear, pressure, and confusion. Return to the quiet before crisis forces you there. Sit with me before the day becomes crowded. Pause before a difficult conversation. Breathe before answering a message that stirs old pain. Stillness creates room between the trigger and the response. Inside that room, wisdom can speak. My beloved child, stay here for another breath. Notice what is present without correcting it. Let the real interior be seen. You have begun the first practice of the private room, but noticing is only the beginning. In the next part, I will help you sort what has risen. You will learn what belongs to you, what must be placed in my hands, and what I may already be giving you within this quiet moment through an honest interior inventory. My beloved child, sacred stillness has helped you notice what is present. Now I want to help you sort what has risen. Not every thought belongs in the same place. Not every burden requires the same response. Some things must be faced. Some things must be released. Some things are already being given to you. This is the purpose of an interior inventory. You are not judging your heart. You are clearing the room so truth can move freely. My beloved child, begin with the first question. What am I carrying that is not mine? You may be carrying another person's choices as though your worry could control them. You may be carrying the future of a relationship that requires two willing hearts. You may be carrying the mood of your home, the success of your children, the healing of a parent, or the opinion of someone who has already decided to misunderstand you. Concern can slowly become possession. Love can quietly become control. You begin believing that if you think about the problem long enough, prepare for every outcome, or remain constantly available, nothing will fall apart. But your constant carrying does not make you powerful. It makes you tired. My beloved child, remember how Moses tried to carry the needs of the people from morning until evening. His father-in-law saw the strain and told him that the weight was too heavy for one person. The answer was not more effort. The answer was shared responsibility and wiser limits. You also need limits. Ask what belongs to your obedience and what belongs to my authority. You can speak truth. You cannot force another person to receive it. You can offer help. You cannot make someone change. You can prepare carefully. You cannot guarantee every outcome. You can love deeply. You cannot become another person's source of salvation. Name one burden that is not yours. Say, Father, I have been carrying this as though everything depended on me. Then place it in my hands. You may feel resistance. Part of you may believe that releasing the burden means you do not care, but surrender is not indifference. It is love without the illusion of control. My beloved child, now ask the second question. What am I carrying that truly belongs to me? This part of the inventory requires courage. There are responsibilities you cannot hand away. An apology you need to offer, a conversation you need to begin, a habit you need to change, a boundary you need to communicate, a promise you need to keep, a wound you need to stop pretending does not affect you. Do not call surrender what is actually avoidance. You have sometimes placed something in my hands when I was asking you to take one honest step. You prayed for peace while refusing to tell the truth. You prayed for change while protecting the habit. You prayed for direction while ignoring the clearest instruction already before you. My beloved child, I am gentle, but I am not vague. If something belongs to your responsibility, I will help you face it without shame. Ask, what is the next action that is mine? Not the entire solution, only the next faithful action. Perhaps it is making an appointment. Perhaps it is reviewing the account you have avoided. Perhaps it is admitting that the relationship is unhealthy. Perhaps it is asking forgiveness without defending yourself. Perhaps it is resting because your body has been warning you. Write the action down if that helps. Clarity becomes stronger when it is given a simple form. My beloved child, remember the people who stood at the edge of the promised land. The water did not move while they remained at a distance. They had to step forward with trust before the path opened. Some answers also meet you in motion. You do not need complete certainty. You need enough light for one step. Take responsibility without taking condemnation. There is a difference. Responsibility says, this belongs to me, and with your help I will address it. Condemnation says everything is my fault, and I must punish myself. I do not lead you through self-hatred. I lead you through truth joined with mercy. My beloved child, now come to the third question. What am I receiving in this room? Many people enter prayer noticing only what they bring: their fear, their requests, their confusion, their pain. They leave without asking what may already have been placed before them. Slow down. What is here now that was not here when you entered? Perhaps your breathing is steadier. Perhaps a sentence has become clear. Perhaps you feel permission to wait. Perhaps you recognize that a burden never belonged to you. Perhaps courage is rising quietly. Perhaps the answer is not a direction, but a deeper sense that you are not alone. Receive what is present. Do not dismiss it because it seems small. A single lamp can change the way an entire room is seen. My beloved child, provision often arrives as enough for the next step, not enough for the entire journey. When the people traveled through the wilderness, they received daily bread. They could not store security for every future day. They learned to return, receive, and trust again. You are learning the same rhythm. Today's peace is for today. Today's courage is for today's conversation. Today's wisdom is for today's choice. Do not demand tomorrow's provision before tomorrow arrives. Ask, what are you giving me now? Then remain quiet long enough to notice. My beloved child, your interior inventory can be simple. What is not mine? What is mine? What am I receiving? You can move through these questions in a few minutes. You can write the answers. You can whisper them. You can sit with one question when the others feel too much. The purpose is not perfect analysis. The purpose is honest order. Imagine a table covered with objects collected over many years. Some are useful. Some belong to someone else. Some are broken. Some are gifts you never opened. The inventory does not condemn the table. It helps you see what is there. In the same way, I am helping you separate responsibility from control, pain from identity, and provision from wishful thinking. My beloved child, return to this practice again before difficult decisions. Use it when resentment grows. Use it when you feel responsible for everyone. Use it when your prayers become crowded and you no longer know what you are asking. Pause and sort. What must be released? What must be faced? What is already being given? You may discover that peace increases when everything is returned to its proper place. Your life does not become easy, but your heart becomes less divided. My beloved child, take one final breath. Release what is not yours. Accept what is yours. Receive what I am giving. The room is clearer now, and when truth has been sorted, it needs a voice. In the next part, I will teach you how to speak a private declaration, not as a performance, but as an honest way of naming what is true before you leave this room. My beloved child, the room has become clearer. You have named what is not yours, accepted what belongs to your responsibility, and noticed what I am already giving you. Now truth must move from quiet recognition into spoken agreement. This is the purpose of a private declaration. It is not a performance. It is not a formula. It is not a way to force an outcome. It is the moment when your voice begins agreeing with what is true. My beloved child, you have spent years speaking words shaped by fear, shame, and pressure. I cannot handle this. Nothing will change. I am too late. I am not enough. No one sees me. These sentences may have become familiar because pain repeated them until they sounded like facts. But familiarity does not make a lie trustworthy. A private declaration interrupts the old agreement. It does not deny your circumstances. It names a deeper truth within them. You may still feel afraid and say, I am not alone. My beloved child, speaking truth aloud matters because some lies have lived inside you without challenge. When you hear your own voice name what is real, you become an active participant in your healing. Remember David when he spoke to his own soul. He did not pretend everything felt easy. He questioned his discouragement and reminded himself where hope belonged. Ask what sentence has fear been repeating, then answer it. If fear says you will be abandoned, say, I am held even in uncertainty. If shame says your past defines you, say, I am still capable of growth and repair. If comparison says you are behind, say, my path has its own timing and purpose. If exhaustion says you must keep proving your worth, say, I am loved before I perform. My beloved child, make the declaration honest enough to believe. Do not reach for language that sounds impressive, but feels distant from your real interior. A quiet sentence spoken sincerely carries more weight than loud words used to cover fear. Begin where you are. Say, Father, I am willing to trust you with this one step. Say, I do not have the whole answer, but I am not without guidance. Say, I feel weak, but weakness is not the end of my story. Say, I am learning to release what was never mine. A seed is small, but it carries direction within it. My beloved child, a private declaration is not positive thinking disconnected from reality. It does not say the pain never happened. It does not say the relationship is healthy when it is not. It does not say the door is open when it remains closed. Truth does not require pretending. Instead, say, this hurt me, but it will not define every future relationship. Say, this door closed, but my life is not over. Say, I made a mistake and I can still choose responsibility and change. Say, I am grieving and I am still held. This is faith rooted in honesty. My beloved child, use the words that match the work happening within you. If you are learning boundaries, declare, I can love without abandoning myself. If you are learning rest, declare, I do not have to earn care through exhaustion. If you are healing from rejection, declare, another person's decision cannot erase my worth. If you are waiting for direction, declare, I will not let panic choose my next step. If you are rebuilding trust, declare, I can move slowly and remain open to wisdom. Let your declaration become specific. Specific truth gives you something to practice. My beloved child, speak what you are receiving, not only what you are resisting. You have already noticed provision in the room. Name it. I receive peace for this conversation. I receive courage to tell the truth. I receive permission to rest. I receive wisdom to wait. I receive strength to make the appointment. I receive grace to begin again. Receiving does not mean every emotion changes immediately. It means you stop refusing what is already available because you believe you must feel worthy first. My beloved child, I do not offer grace as a reward for perfect confidence. I offer it because you need it. Open your hands if that helps. Speak one sentence aloud. Let your body hear the truth your mind is learning. The declaration may feel unfamiliar. Old lies often sound natural because they have been rehearsed for years. New truth may feel awkward because it has not yet become your daily language. Repetition can help truth become familiar, but do not repeat words mechanically. Return to their meaning. Each time you say, I am not alone, remember where you have already been sustained. Each time you say, I am being formed, remember the hidden growth you have recognized. Each time you say, I release control, name what you are placing in my hands. Let the words remain connected to reality. My beloved child, do not use declarations to silence grief. If your heart needs to cry, let it cry. If anger needs to be understood, listen beneath it. If a wound needs professional care, seek it. Words are not a substitute for action support or healing work. They are companions to truth. A declaration should lead you toward honesty, not away from it. It should make you more responsible, not more avoidant. It should make you more compassionate, not more superior. My beloved child, consider the man who brought his child to Jesus and admitted that belief and doubt existed together within him. His honesty was not rejected. He did not offer perfect confidence. He offered the truth of where he was. Your declaration can also hold both faith and struggle. Say, I am afraid, and I am still willing. Say, I have questions, and I am still listening. Say, I feel tired, and I am still here. This is not weak faith. It is faith without disguise. My beloved child, choose one declaration for this season. Keep it simple enough to remember. Speak it in the morning. Speak it before a difficult conversation. Speak it when old patterns return. Speak it quietly when no one else understands what you are practicing. Let it become an anchor, not a slogan. An anchor does not remove the storm. It keeps the vessel from drifting without direction. Your declaration can do the same. It can remind you who you are when pressure tries to rename you. My beloved child, say it now. I am known. I am seen. I am being formed. I am not abandoned in the hidden place. I can release what is not mine. I can face what belongs to me. I can receive what you are giving. Choose the sentence your heart needs. Let it settle. The room is no longer filled only with old voices. Truth has entered through your own mouth. And now this practice must become more than a single moment. In the next part, I will show you how to return to the private room as a daily rhythm, so stillness, inventory, and declaration become a way of living rather than an emergency. You remember only when everything becomes heavy. My beloved child, you have spoken truth in the private room. You have named what is real, released what was not yours, and allowed your own voice to agree with what I am doing within you. Now I want to teach you how to return here regularly. Do not wait until everything becomes heavy again. Do not treat the closed door as an emergency entrance you remember only when fear has already taken over. Let the private room become part of your daily rhythm. My beloved child, consistency matters more than length. You may imagine that meaningful time with me must be long, perfectly quiet, and free from interruption. Then your schedule fills, the house becomes noisy, work begins early, or exhaustion arrives before the evening ends. You miss the perfect moment, then you do nothing. But a few honest minutes can still become sacred. The place does not make the practice holy. Your honest attention does. My beloved child, begin simply. Take 3 slow breaths. Notice what is present. Ask what you are carrying that is not yours. Ask what responsibility belongs to you today. Ask what I am giving you for the next step. Then speak one honest declaration. This does not need to become complicated. You are not building another system to fail. You are building a place of return. The private room should feel like home, not another test. My beloved child, Jesus often withdrew before the demands became louder. He did not wait until he had nothing left. He stepped away from the crowd, prayed, listened, and returned with clarity. Learn from that rhythm. Do not wait for collapse before choosing quiet. Rest before resentment forms. Listen before confusion becomes panic. Pray before pressure chooses your words. A regular return to the private place can help you notice small changes before they become larger problems. You may recognize irritation before it becomes anger. You may notice sadness before it becomes numbness. You may see exhaustion before your body forces you to stop. You may hear a boundary forming before resentment becomes the only language left. My beloved child, regular stillness makes you more responsive, not less engaged. It does not remove you from life. It helps you enter life with greater awareness. The person who pauses before reacting can speak with more wisdom. The person who checks the interior before saying yes can give without hidden resentment. The person who knows what belongs in my hands can love without trying to control everyone. This is why the closed door prepares you for the open one. My beloved child, some days the practice will feel peaceful. There will be mornings when your thoughts settle quickly, and evenings when they do not. There will be moments when one sentence becomes clear, and others when nothing seems to happen. Do not measure the value of the practice only by emotion. A tree does not appear to grow every day, but water still reaches the roots. In the same way, regular attention strengthens what cannot always be measured. You are learning how to become present. You are learning how to hear your own interior before the world tells you what to feel. You are learning how to recognize my quiet guidance without demanding constant intensity. My beloved child, make the practice realistic. Choose a time that can actually belong to you. It may be early morning. It may be after lunch. It may be the final minutes before sleep. Protect it where you can, but do not become rigid. If the time changes, return later. If you miss a day, do not turn one interruption into a reason to abandon the rhythm. Begin again without shame. Faithfulness grows through returning, not through perfection. My beloved child, you may discover resistance when you try to make this regular. The phone suddenly feels urgent. A small task seems impossible to leave unfinished. You remember something you should check. You feel restless as soon as the room becomes quiet. Notice that resistance. Do not immediately obey it. Ask what the activity is protecting you from. Sometimes busyness is not only a crowded schedule, it is a shield against grief. It is a way to avoid the question you do not want to answer. It is a method of staying useful, so you never have to wonder whether you are loved when you are still. My beloved child, resistance is information. It does not make you bad. It reveals where gentleness and courage are needed. If quiet brings up old pain, shorten the practice and remain patient. If anxiety becomes overwhelming, ground yourself in the present and seek support from someone trustworthy. You do not have to force yourself through more than you can safely hold. Healing is not proven by how much discomfort you endure alone. My beloved child, include your body in the rhythm. Sit in a position that allows you to breathe freely. My beloved child, keep a small notebook if writing helps you notice patterns. You do not need pages of reflection. Write one sentence about what you carried. Write one action that belongs to you. Write one thing you received. Write one declaration for the day. Over time, you may begin seeing what returns. The same fear, the same relationship pattern, the same place where you need courage, the same truth I keep placing before you. Patterns become easier to address when they are no longer hidden inside separate days. My beloved child, let the private room shape the way you leave it. Do not finish prayer and immediately return to the same pace without carrying anything with you. Choose one small practice. Speak more slowly in the difficult conversation. Wait before answering the message. Keep the boundary you named. Accept the help you usually refuse. Rest when your body warns you. A private encounter becomes fruitful when it changes one public response. You do not need to become dramatic. Let the change be quiet and real. My beloved child, there will also be seasons when the private room feels less comforting. You may return faithfully and find that your mind remains active. The thoughts may cycle, the worries may become louder. You may wonder why a regular practice has not created constant peace. Do not assume something is wrong with you. The mind can carry patterns formed through long periods of vigilance, stress, and responsibility. Silence may reveal those patterns before it softens them. Stay compassionate toward yourself. The closed door is not failing because the interior remains loud. It may be showing you what needs deeper care. My beloved child, return daily, but return without force. Bring the real interior. Practice stillness. Sort what has risen. Speak truth. Then carry one clear response into the day. This rhythm will not make life free from difficulty. It will help difficulty stop owning every part of you. And as you continue, you will need to understand why the inner noise sometimes remains even when the outer room becomes quiet. In the next part, I will show you why your interior can stay loud, what that noise may be revealing, and how to respond without calling yourself spiritually weak. My beloved child, you have been returning to the private room, breathing slowly, noticing what is present, and speaking truth with greater honesty. Yet some days, even after the door closes, the inside of you remains loud. Thoughts continue moving, questions return, old conversations replay. Your body sits still, but your mind does not. Do not call this failure. The quiet room is not broken. You are not spiritually weak. You are beginning to hear what constant activity once covered. My beloved child, a mind that has carried responsibility for a long time does not become peaceful simply because the room becomes silent. It has learned to stay alert. It watches for problems, studies other people's moods, remembers unfinished tasks, and prepares for what might go wrong. This pattern may have protected you once. Perhaps you grew up in a home where peace could change without warning. You learned to notice footsteps, facial expressions, and shifts in tone. Perhaps adulthood required you to care for people who depended on you. You became skilled at anticipating needs before anyone asked. The skill helped you survive. But survival habits can continue after the danger has passed. Your mind may still act like a guard standing at the door long after the house has become safe. My beloved child, do not become angry with the guard. Thank it for trying to protect you. Then remind it that I am here. Say I do not have to solve every possible problem in this moment. Say I am allowed to be present before I prepare for tomorrow. Say not every silence is a warning. The goal is not to attack your thoughts. It is to help your inner world learn that rest is possible. My beloved child, sometimes the interior remains loud because too much has been left unfinished. Your mind returns to the same conversation because no decision was made. It repeats the same concern because action has been delayed. It revisits the same wound because you keep calling it small when it is still affecting you. Noise can be a request for attention. Ask what the thought is asking you to notice. Does it require action? Does it require grief? Does it require a boundary? Does it require surrender? Do not assume every repeated thought is guidance. Some thoughts repeat because fear has learned a familiar path, but repetition can still show you where care is needed. My beloved child, remember Martha moving through the house carrying many concerns, while Mary sat close and listened. Martha was not wrong for serving. The problem was that worry had divided her attention until the work became heavier than the moment required. You have also tried to serve while carrying too many inner voices. One voice says, hurry. Another says, do not disappoint anyone. Another says, rest is irresponsible. Another says if you stop, everything will fall apart. No wonder quiet feels crowded. Bring those voices into my presence one at a time. Ask who taught you each sentence. Ask whether it is true. Ask what a wiser sentence might sound like. My beloved child, the interior can also remain loud because feelings were never given language. What cannot be spoken often returns as tension, restlessness, irritability, or exhaustion. You may say you are fine while your body says otherwise. You may say the past is over while one memory still changes your breathing. You may say you have forgiven while resentment rises whenever the person's name appears. This does not make you dishonest. It means healing may be incomplete. Let the unfinished place become visible without condemnation. Say, Father, I thought this no longer affected me, but something is still here. That sentence is enough to begin. My beloved child, do not use prayer to silence every difficult emotion immediately. Anger may reveal that something mattered. Sadness may reveal love and loss. Fear may reveal where safety needs to be rebuilt. Emotions are not always instructions, but they are often information. Listen without surrendering control to them. You can notice anger without becoming cruel. You can feel fear without letting fear choose. You can grieve without believing hope is gone. The room becomes safer when every emotion is allowed to speak, but none is allowed to rule alone. My beloved child, there are practical ways to help your interior settle. Write down what must be remembered so your mind does not keep holding it. Choose one next action for the concern you can address. Set a time to revisit the problem instead of carrying it through every hour. Reduce noise that keeps your attention scattered. Eat, sleep, move, and ask for support when your body needs care. These actions are not separate from faith. They make room for clearer prayer. My beloved child, some inner noise may require help beyond what you can provide alone. If thoughts become overwhelming, if anxiety repeatedly disrupts your daily life, or if old pain keeps returning with great intensity, speak with a trustworthy professional. Receiving skilled support does not mean you have failed to trust me. Wisdom often arrives through people who have learned how to help. I can work through prayer, friendship, medicine, counseling, rest, and honest community. Do not reject a useful tool because it does not look dramatic. My beloved child, remember the disciples during the storm. The wind was loud, the water entered the boat, and fear filled their attention. My presence in the boat did not mean the storm made no sound. It meant the storm was not the only reality. Your interior may still be noisy while I am present. Peace is not always the absence of every thought. Sometimes peace is knowing you are not alone while the thoughts pass. Sometimes it is choosing not to obey the loudest voice. Sometimes it is taking one slow breath before the next wave. Do not demand instant silence as proof that I am near. My beloved child, progress may look smaller than you expected. You notice the anxious thought sooner. You recover more quickly after a trigger. You pause before reacting. You ask for help instead of hiding. You sleep without solving every problem. These are signs that your inner world is learning a new rhythm. Honor them. Healing often arrives through repeated moments of safety. Stay patient with the process. The mind that learned vigilance through years of pressure may need many quiet returns before rest feels natural. Continue closing the door. Continue naming what appears. Continue releasing what is not yours. Continue receiving what is available today. You are not required to become calm. You are learning to remain present, honest, and open, while peace grows gradually within you. But understand this, my beloved child. Inner noise is not the only thing that can interfere with the private encounter. Sometimes the room is quiet, but you still bring an audience into it. Sometimes shame tells you that you are unworthy to receive anything. Sometimes you keep placing the real encounter somewhere in the future. In the next part, I will help you remove these three obstacles: performance, unworthiness, and waiting, so you can meet me in the room as you truly are. My beloved child, you have learned that a loud interior does not mean I am absent. Now I want to show you three quieter obstacles that can remain even after the room becomes still. The first is performance. The second is unworthiness. The third is waiting. My beloved child, performance begins when you close the door, but keep an invisible audience inside. You may be alone physically, yet part of you still imagines how your prayer would sound to someone else. You choose words that appear strong. You avoid questions that might make you seem uncertain. You speak as though you are being evaluated. You think a mature person would not feel this afraid. A faithful person would not be this tired. A strong person would know what to do. So you bring me a polished report instead of the truth. My beloved child, I am not asking for a report. I am asking for you. The public voice says I am grateful for everything. The honest voice may say I am grateful, but I am also hurt. The public voice says I trust completely. The honest voice may say I want to trust, but disappointment has made me careful. The public voice says I have forgiven. The honest voice may say I released revenge, but the wound still needs healing. Bring me the honest voice. Remember the man who stood far from the center of attention and could barely lift his eyes. He did not arrive with a list of achievements. He brought humility and need. The other man filled the room with his own goodness, but the honest heart was the one ready to receive mercy. I do not need impressive language. I respond to truth. My beloved child, remove the imaginary audience. Do not ask how the prayer sounds. Ask whether it is real. Do not ask whether the feeling looks spiritual. Ask whether it is present. You are not being graded. You are being known. The second obstacle is unworthiness. This voice tells you that the private encounter is available, but not for someone like you. It is for the person with stronger faith, the person with fewer mistakes, the person who has prayed consistently, the person who understands Scripture better, the person who did not waste so many years. You remain near the door, believing you must become better before coming closer. My beloved child, shame always moves the meeting into another room. It says, clean yourself first, fix the habit first, become more disciplined first, then perhaps you may be welcomed. But grace does not begin after perfection. Grace is what helps you tell the truth, take responsibility, and begin again. Remember Gideon hiding while fear shaped his view of himself. He saw weakness, family limitation, and everything he lacked. Yet I addressed the courage that was still being formed within him. I did not wait until he felt brave before speaking. I met him inside the fear. I will meet you there too. Your mistakes may require repair. Your choices may require change. Your wounds may require help. But none of those things make honest communion impossible. My correction is not rejection. My holiness does not require pretending. Come near enough to be transformed. Do not stand outside, because you believe transformation must happen before you enter. My beloved child, unworthiness also hides inside comparison. You look at another person's prayer life, confidence, knowledge, or visible peace, and decide that they belong closer to me. You do not see their entire story. You do not know their private questions. More importantly, their path is not the measure of your welcome. You are invited because you are my beloved child, not because you have achieved a certain spiritual image. Say this slowly. I do not have to earn the right to be honest with God. Let that truth loosen the shame. The third obstacle is waiting. This one is subtle because patience can be wise. But waiting becomes an obstacle when you keep placing the real encounter somewhere in the future. You say, when life becomes quieter, I will listen. When I feel more focused, I will pray. When the pain is less intense, I will become honest. When I receive a sign, I will believe this moment matters. So today becomes a waiting room for tomorrow. My beloved child, you keep preparing to arrive while refusing to notice that I am already here. Moses was not standing in a temple when the ground became holy. He was in the middle of ordinary work. The disciples did not always recognize my presence immediately while walking the road. Awareness came as they continued the conversation. The encounter may begin before your emotions confirm it. This room does not need to feel extraordinary before it becomes meaningful. The breath you just took matters. The truth you admitted matters. The burden you released matters. The willingness to remain matters. Do not dismiss the beginning because it does not resemble the ending. My beloved child, waiting can also become a way to avoid obedience. You ask for another sign because the next step feels uncomfortable. You ask for complete certainty because trust feels risky. You tell yourself that you are being patient, but fear may be delaying what has already become clear. Ask honestly, am I waiting for guidance, or am I waiting for fear to disappear? Courage does not always arrive before the step. Sometimes it meets you while you move. You do not need to force a decision, but you should not call endless hesitation peace. If the next faithful action is clear, take it gently. Make the appointment. Begin the conversation. Keep the boundary. Return the call. Ask for help. Close the door that continues harming you. My beloved child, now, look at the three obstacles together. Performance says present the right version. Unworthiness says you are not ready to be received. Waiting says the real moment is somewhere else. Truth answers all three. You do not need to perform because I already know you. You do not need to earn welcome because grace meets you in truth. You do not need to postpone the encounter because my presence is available now. Take another breath. Let the audience leave. Let shame loosen. Let tomorrow remain tomorrow. Sit here as you are. Say, Father, this is the real me. Say, I receive your mercy before I have everything repaired. Say, I will not miss this moment while waiting for a more dramatic one. My beloved child, the room may not change outwardly. The walls remain the same. The chair remains beneath you. The world continues beyond the door, but something inside becomes less divided when performance, unworthiness, and waiting lose their authority. You become available. And when you become available, silence begins to feel different. It is no longer only the absence of noise. It becomes a place where you can sense, listen, and remain without fear. In the next part, I will show you how silence becomes a living presence, how it teaches you to notice what words cannot carry, and how the quiet formed here can travel with you into every room you enter. My beloved child, the invisible audience has left the room. Shame has loosened its grip. Tomorrow is no longer stealing the attention needed for this moment. Now silence can become more than the absence of sound. It can become a living presence. At first, quiet may have felt empty. You entered the room and noticed only what was missing. No conversation, no music, no movement, no one asking anything from you. The stillness felt unfamiliar because your life had been shaped by constant response. As you remain here, something changes. Silence begins to hold you instead of accuse you. My beloved child, a living silence is not lifeless. It carries attention. It creates room for truth to rise. It allows you to notice what hurried words often cover. You begin hearing the difference between fear and wisdom. You notice when your body tightens before your mind understands why. You sense when a conversation requires patience rather than another quick answer. This kind of silence does not remove you from reality. It helps you meet reality without being pulled apart by it. My beloved child, remember the moment when the prophet expected me and the violent wind, the shaking earth and the fire. Those things were powerful, but the word he needed came afterward in a gentle sound. The quiet did not mean nothing was happening. It meant he had reached a place where a softer voice could finally be recognized. You have also been trained to notice what is loud. Urgency gets your attention. Conflict gets your attention. Praise gets your attention. Fear gets your attention. But truth is not always the loudest voice in the room. Sometimes truth waits beneath the noise. Sacred silence teaches you how to listen there. My beloved child, listening does not mean searching anxiously for a hidden message in every thought. It does not mean turning every feeling into a sign. Living silence is spacious, not superstitious. It gives you room to test what you sense. Does this thought produce honesty or panic? Does it lead toward love, wisdom, and responsibility? Does it remain steady after the emotion fades? Does it agree with the character of truth and mercy? You are learning discernment, not chasing mystery. My beloved child, silence also teaches you to notice what another person cannot say. When someone speaks, you hear the words. When you are quiet, you may also notice the hesitation, the tiredness, or the fear beneath them. This does not mean you know everything about them. It gives you the patience to ask a kinder question. You stop rushing to fix. You become able to sit beside pain without filling every pause. You listen long enough for honesty to emerge. This is one of the fruits of the private room. The silence you practice alone can become compassion when you return to people. My beloved child, there were times when you filled every quiet space because pauses made you uncomfortable. You explained too much. You apologized before anyone asked. You answered questions before deciding what you truly thought. Silence now gives you another option. You may pause before saying yes. You may allow a question to remain open overnight. You may wait until anger settles before choosing words. You may refuse to explain a healthy boundary to someone committed to crossing it. A pause can protect truth. It can also protect love from words spoken too quickly. My beloved child, living silence does not require you to become distant or cold. It is not withdrawal used as punishment. It is not ignoring people to gain control. It is an inward steadiness that allows your words to come from clarity rather than reaction. Healthy silence leaves room for connection. Punishing silence closes the door to make another person suffer. Know the difference. Use quiet to return to wisdom, not to manipulate. When truth is ready, speak it plainly and kindly. My beloved child, silence can also become a place of creativity. Ideas that could not be heard beneath constant input begin to surface. A solution appears while you walk slowly. A sentence comes while you wash dishes. A memory connects with a present question. You remember a gift that has been neglected. Do not demand that every quiet moment produce something useful. But notice what grows when your mind is not always consuming another person's voice. There is a part of you that needs unfilled space in order to create. My beloved child, learn to carry this living silence beyond the closed door. Carry it into the car before an appointment. Carry it into the few breaths before you answer the phone. Carry it into a meeting where everyone feels pressure to speak quickly. Carry it into a family conversation where old patterns usually take control. You do not need the perfect room to return inwardly. The private place can become a posture within you. One slow breath can remind you. One honest question can bring you back. What is happening inside me right now? What response would reflect truth rather than fear? My beloved child, there will still be noisy days. You may lose your center. You may speak too quickly, over-explain, or react from an old wound. Do not turn one moment into a judgment about your entire growth. Return. Apologize where needed. Become quiet again. The strength of the practice is not that you never leave it. The strength is that you know the way back. A path becomes clear because it is walked repeatedly. My beloved child, silence is also where certain words become ready. There may be something you are being prepared to say, teach, write, create, or live. Do not rush it into public view before it has become clear within you. A word received in private often needs time. It must pass through humility. It must be tested by truth. It must become service rather than self-display. You do not need to announce every insight the moment it arrives. Hold it gently. Ask who it is meant to help. Ask when it should be spoken. Ask whether your life is beginning to carry what your mouth wants to say. My beloved child, this is how private formation becomes public fruit. Not through noise, through depth, not through urgency, through readiness, not through a desire to be noticed, through a willingness to serve. The silence is shaping how you enter rooms, how you listen, how you decide, and how you carry responsibility. You are becoming less controlled by the need to fill every space. You are becoming able to remain present where others become restless. Stay here for one more breath. Notice that the room is not empty. You are here. I am here. Truth is here. And the quiet is becoming familiar. My beloved child, this living silence is preparing you to understand two identities formed in the hidden place. One is the person whose roots grow beyond public view. The other is the person who learns endurance in a long desert season. In the next part, I will show you how to become the hidden one and the desert dweller without confusing concealment with rejection or endurance with abandonment. My beloved child, the silence has become familiar enough for you to notice what it has been forming. You are beginning to understand two identities that grow in hidden places. The hidden one, the desert dweller. These are not labels of rejection. They are descriptions of how depth is formed when life becomes quiet, slow, and unseen. My beloved child, the hidden one is not someone erased from my attention. The hidden one is someone whose roots are growing beyond public view. There are seasons when your life seems smaller from the outside. Fewer people notice you, fewer doors open. You may feel as though the world has moved on while you remain in the same place. But visibility is not the same as value. A root system develops in darkness before a tree can stand in wind. The soil does not applaud, the ground does not announce progress. Yet hidden growth determines whether visible growth will survive. My beloved child, you have wanted people to recognize what is happening within you. You wanted them to see the boundaries, the healing, the patience, and the courage that were forming. When no one did, disappointment whispered that nothing real was happening. Do not believe it. I have seen the work beneath the surface. I saw when you chose a wiser response, and no one knew how difficult it was. I saw when you stayed quiet instead of defending yourself. I saw when you returned to truth after an old pattern called your name. The hidden place has not been empty. It has been forming substance. My beloved child, the hidden one learns to live without constant confirmation. This does not mean you stop caring about healthy encouragement. It means encouragement is no longer the only evidence that your path matters. You begin asking different questions. Am I becoming more honest? Am I becoming more patient? Am I able to love without losing myself? Am I serving from peace instead of from the need to be approved? My beloved child, remember David before anyone saw him as a king. He was known first as the one who watched sheep in the field. The oil came before the throne. The private songs came before the public victories. The hidden place taught him how to worship, protect, wait, and endure. But the field formed the man who would later carry public responsibility. Your hidden field may also be preparing you. Do not despise the place where your character is becoming strong enough to carry what your gift may one day attract. My beloved child, the hidden one, must also guard against bitterness. It is easy to turn privacy into superiority. It is easy to believe that being unseen makes you more spiritual than those who are visible. Do not allow the hidden place to harden your heart. You are not being formed to judge the crowd. You are being formed to serve with depth when you return to it. Humility protects what solitude produces. My beloved child, now consider the desert dweller. The desert dweller is the person who has learned to continue when the landscape offers little confirmation. The horizon changes slowly. There are few signs that anything new is near, yet each day still carries one responsibility, one provision, and one decision to remain faithful. You prayed, but the answer came slowly. You planted, but the ground stayed quiet. You worked, but recognition did not arrive. You kept walking while other people appeared to reach their destination sooner. My beloved child, the desert can make time feel cruel. It can convince you that waiting means you were forgotten. But the desert also reveals what crowded seasons hide. It shows you what you depend on. It reveals whether your peace belongs to outcomes or to relationship. It teaches you to recognize small provision. Watershade and simple direction matter differently in the desert. What once seemed ordinary becomes enough to continue. My beloved child, remember the people who traveled through the wilderness and received bread for each day. They could not gather certainty for every tomorrow. They had to receive again. The lesson was not only provision, it was trust in daily form. You are learning that lesson. You may not receive the entire map. You may receive enough light for the next step. You may not know how the season ends. You may know what faithfulness requires today. The desert dweller becomes strong through repeated dependence. My beloved child, this strength is quieter than ambition. It does not need to rush every process. It does not panic when progress appears slow. It learns how to move without wasting energy fighting the landscape. A wise traveler does not demand that the desert become a garden before taking the next step. The traveler carries what is needed, rests when necessary, watches the direction, and respects the limits of the body. You must learn the same. Do not spend all your strength resisting the fact that this season is difficult. Use your strength to remain honest, nourished, connected, and attentive. My beloved child, the desert dweller also knows when to accept help. Isolation can become dangerous when you confuse endurance with carrying everything alone. Moses needed others to help hold his arms. Elijah needed food, rest, and care. Even strong people require support. Let trusted people walk beside you. Let wisdom enter through another voice. Let care reach the parts of you that have grown tired from constant self-protection. Receiving help does not cancel your strength. It keeps strength from becoming pride. My beloved child, the desert is not your final identity. You are learning endurance there, but you are not meant to worship struggle. Do not become so familiar with hardship that peace feels suspicious. Do not reject an open door because difficulty has become the only environment you trust. The lesson of the desert is not that you must always suffer. It is that you can remain grounded when comfort disappears and remain humble when comfort returns. My beloved child, the hidden one and the desert dweller belong together. The hidden place gives you depth. The desert gives you endurance. The hidden place teaches you who you are without an audience. The desert teaches you how to continue without immediate reward. Together they form a person who can carry responsibility without being controlled by attention, pressure, or delay. You are becoming that person right now too. Not perfectly, not quickly, but truly. My beloved child, let this settle within you. You are not invisible, you are rooted. You are not abandoned in the desert. You are being strengthened. You are not waiting without purpose. You are learning how to receive, endure, and remain faithful. And soon these two identities will lead to a third. The hidden one has received depth. The desert dweller has received endurance. Now the question becomes what you are being prepared to carry. In the next part, I will show you how to receive your private commission without needing public approval, and how to hold a true assignment with humility until the right time comes to act. My beloved child, the hidden one has learned depth, and the desert dweller has learned endurance. Now I want to show you what those seasons have prepared you to carry. There is a difference between ambition and commission. Ambition asks how far you can go. Commission asks what you are willing to serve. Ambition looks for recognition. Commission begins with responsibility. My beloved child, a private commission is often received before anyone else can see it. It may come as a repeated burden, a clear conviction, a gift that keeps returning, or a responsibility you did not choose but cannot ignore. You may not have a title. You may not have a platform. You may not have public proof that the assignment is real. That does not make it imaginary. Many callings begin as quiet obedience. Remember Samuel hearing his name in the night. No crowd stood beside him. No public ceremony announced the moment. He learned to recognize the voice and answer with willingness. Your commission may also begin where no one applauds. It may sound like this: tell the truth with kindness. Care for the person others overlook. Begin the work you keep postponing. Use the gift you buried. Protect what has been entrusted to you. Return to the place where service matters more than image. My beloved child, do not assume a true commission must be large enough to impress people. Some assignments affect thousands. Others transform one family, one classroom, one neighborhood, or one hurting person. The value is not measured only by visibility. A lamp beside one frightened traveler still fulfills its purpose. Do not make the assignment smaller because it is quiet. Do not make it larger because pride wants attention. Receive it at its true size. My beloved child, public approval is unstable. People may celebrate you when your work is useful to them, and question you when obedience changes your availability. If your confidence depends entirely on their agreement, you will keep changing direction whenever their reaction changes. You will rush what needs time. You will abandon what is true because it receives no applause. This is why the commission must become rooted in the private place. My beloved child, private certainty does not mean stubbornness. You still need wisdom. You still need correction. You still need mature people who can test your motives and help you see what you may be missing. A person who refuses every question is not confident. That person may be protecting pride. Hold your assignment with humility. Ask whether it produces love, integrity, responsibility, and service. Ask whether it agrees with truth rather than feeding your need to feel special. Ask whether you are willing to do the hidden work even if recognition never comes. A true commission deepens character before it expands influence. My beloved child, remember David after he was anointed. The oil touched his head, but the throne did not appear the next morning. He returned to ordinary responsibilities. There was a distance between private confirmation and public fulfillment. That distance protected him from believing that promise removed preparation. You may also be living inside that distance. You know something has been placed within you, but the open door has not arrived. Do not force it. Do not announce what is still becoming mature. Do not despise the duties in front of you. The field after the anointing is still part of the calling. My beloved child, waiting does not mean doing nothing. Learn the skill, strengthen the character, repair the habits that future responsibility would expose. Serve where you are. Practice when no one is watching. Let your private life support what your public life may eventually carry. A bridge is tested before heavy traffic is allowed across it. The testing is not rejection. It is protection for those who will later depend on its strength. My beloved child, your private commission may challenge the identity other people gave you. They knew you as the one who stayed quiet. Now you may need to speak. They knew you as the one who always agreed. Now you may need to set a boundary. They knew you as the one who carried everything. Now you may need to share responsibility. Growth can confuse people who benefited from your old patterns. Do not become cruel toward them. But do not return to an unhealthy identity just to make them comfortable. My beloved child, release the need to prove the commission. You do not have to mention it in every conversation. You do not have to make people acknowledge that you were right. You do not have to turn every opportunity into evidence that your moment has arrived. Quiet confidence does not chase witnesses, it does the next faithful thing. If the assignment is real, fruit will speak in time. Your responsibility is faithfulness, not self-promotion. My beloved child, there may also be fear beneath your desire for approval. You want someone to confirm the assignment because then failure would not feel entirely yours. If others agree, you feel protected from uncertainty. But no human approval can remove every risk. Obedience often requires movement before outcomes are guaranteed. You can seek counsel without surrendering your responsibility to decide. You can listen carefully without asking others to carry the courage that belongs to you. At some point, you must take the next honest step. My beloved child, begin small. Write the first page. Make the first call. Offer the first hour. Learn the first lesson. Have the first conversation. Do not wait until you can see the whole road. A commission becomes clearer through faithful movement. Direction often meets the person already walking. My beloved child, remain willing to be redirected. You may understand the assignment imperfectly at first. Your motives may need purification. The form may change while the purpose remains. Perhaps you thought you were called to stand at the center, but later discovered you were called to build the people who would stand there. Perhaps you expected one kind of work, but your experience prepared you for another. Humility allows guidance to continue after the first yes. My beloved child, say this quietly now. I receive the responsibility without needing to feel important. I will seek wisdom without surrendering my obedience. I will prepare in private. I will serve without demanding applause. I will move when the next step becomes clear. Let those words settle. The hidden one gave you depth. The desert dweller gave you endurance. The private commission now gives that depth and endurance direction. You are not being prepared merely to remain behind a closed door. You are being prepared to carry what was formed here into places where people need truth, steadiness, compassion, courage, and service. My beloved child, the room has done its work for this moment. You have listened. You have released. You have received. Soon the door must open. In the next and final part, I will show you how to leave this private place without losing what you found here, how to carry the encounter into ordinary life, and how to step through the open door with humility, peace, and one clear act of obedience. My beloved child, the room has carried you far enough for this moment. You entered with noise around you and weight within you. You closed the door, slowed your breathing, named what was real, and allowed me to meet the person beneath the roles. Now the door must open, not because the private place has lost its value, because what was formed here is meant to travel with you. My beloved child, do not leave this room as though nothing happened. Carry the stillness, carry the truth, carry the one clear step that became visible. The world outside may look exactly the same. The responsibilities will still be waiting. The phone may still hold unanswered messages. The difficult person may still be difficult. The decision may still require courage, but you are not leaving in the same way you entered. You know how to pause now. You know how to notice what is yours and what is not. You know how to speak truth without performing. You know that silence can hold presence instead of emptiness. My beloved child, opening the door does not mean abandoning the sacred place. The private room can become an inner posture. You can return to it through one slow breath before a conversation. You can return through a quiet prayer in a crowded hallway. You can return by waiting before you answer from anger. You can return by remembering that you do not have to carry every outcome. The physical door may open, but the inner door too. My presence remains available. Do not divide your life into sacred moments and ordinary ones. Let ordinary places become different because you enter them with greater awareness. My beloved child, Moses left the burning bush and returned to a difficult assignment. Elijah rose from the place of exhaustion and continued after receiving care. Hannah left prayer with a changed face before the answer became visible. Their private encounters did not remove every challenge. They changed the way each person carried the next step. You may not feel completely ready. Readiness is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to move while remaining connected to truth. My beloved child, choose one action before you open the door. Do not choose 10, choose 1. Send the honest message, make the appointment, keep the boundary, begin the page. Rest without apologizing. Ask for help. Forgive without reopening access to harm. Offer the kindness you have been withholding. One faithful action gives the encounter a place to live. Without action, insight can become another beautiful thought that changes nothing. My beloved child, protect what was formed here from immediate pressure. You do not have to explain the entire experience to everyone. You do not need to announce that you have changed. Let them notice that you no longer rush to defend yourself. Let them notice that your yes has become more honest and you're no less guilty. Let them notice that you can remain kind without surrendering your boundaries. Fruit is more trustworthy than declaration. My beloved child, some people may resist the change. They may prefer the version of you that was always available, always apologizing, always carrying what belonged to everyone else. Your growth may inconvenience patterns that depended on your fear. Stay humble. Do not become harsh, but do not return to an unhealthy role merely because someone is uncomfortable with your freedom. You can be compassionate without becoming controlled. You can explain once without arguing endlessly. You can love someone and still refuse what damages peace. My beloved child, carry the hidden place with humility. Depth does not make you superior. Endurance does not give you permission to judge those who are tired. A private commission does not make every idea unquestionable. Let responsibility grow together with character. The person who truly meets me becomes more loving, more honest, more grounded, and more willing to serve. If your private life makes you proud, return to the room and let humility speak again. My beloved child, do not expect yourself to carry this perfectly. You may pick up a burden you already released. You may go several days without returning to stillness. Do not turn a missed practice into a lost path. Come back. The door is still available. Grace does not disappear because you became distracted. Begin again with one breath and one honest sentence. That is enough to reopen the conversation. My beloved child, remember the rhythm you have learned. Become still. Notice what is present. Release what is not yours. Accept what belongs to your responsibility. Receive what I am giving for today. Speak one true declaration, then take one faithful step. This rhythm can travel with you for years. It can steady you in success and hold you in loss. It can help you enter relationships without losing yourself and face responsibility without worshiping control. Keep it simple enough to practice. My beloved child, there will be future seasons when the door needs to close again. Not because you failed, because every meaningful life requires return. There will be new burdens to sort, new grief to name, new responsibilities to receive, and new directions to test. Do not wait until you are empty. Return before the noise becomes your only voice. Return before resentment decides your words. Return before fear chooses your direction. The private place is not where you disappear from life. It is where you remember how to enter life well. My beloved child, look toward the door now. Beyond it are people who need your steadiness more than your performance. There are situations that need your wisdom more than your urgency. There are ordinary moments waiting to receive the peace you practiced here. You do not need to save everyone. You only need to remain faithful to what is yours. Walk slowly enough to stay connected to yourself. Speak clearly enough to remain honest. Serve freely enough that love does not become resentment. Rest regularly enough that exhaustion does not become your identity. My beloved child, place your hand near the door if you can. Take one final breath. Remember who entered this room. Remember what was released. Remember what was received. You came carrying noise. You leave carrying awareness. You came trying to manage everything. You leave knowing what belongs in my hands. You came wondering whether the hidden season mattered. You leave knowing that roots were growing. You came afraid that silence meant absence. You leave knowing I was present within it. Open the door when you are ready. Step back into your life without rushing. Carry the encounter gently. Carry it in your choices. Carry it in your boundaries. Carry it in the way you listen. Carry it in the courage to obey without applause. My beloved child, I will be with you beyond this room. I will meet you in the next conversation, the next decision, the next quiet morning, and the next difficult night. You are not leaving my presence. You are carrying awareness of it into the world. Open the door. Walk humbly. Stay honest. Return often. and let the life beyond this room receive the person you have become within it.